Hello. Oh, that actually has my Twitch stuff on it rather than anything else. Okay, then let's get this underway. Let's go across to this one. I always think this is the last push of the weekend when I get to this point. Right. We've got quite a few things to do. And the first thing that I would like to do is actually put something up, get something up and running in one of my, in another campaign, which is Voltaris 42.7, which is my, or our M-Space campaign. And I had an idea about it, the next adventure. So I wanted to get it down and sort of like recorded as quickly as possible. Oh, dearie me. So I'm just going to create a plot, and I don't know what I'm going to call this yet. I haven't decided of a name, so I'm just going to call it Next Adventure, because I've only got some ideas about it, but I often find Shift and Enter to continue. Shift and Enter to, we don't want it, we want it private, and go to full edit. Okay, so this is where we're going. So this is like the next adventure, and I'm reading a book or listening to a book at the moment called Hardwired, and it really got me thinking about M-Space. It's very sort of like characteristic of Shadowrun, and it has like a rigger who drives a Panzer hovercraft, and then it has a sort of like a street samurai. She's a sort of like a girl, and she lives on the streets, and there's a corporation up in sort of like sub-atmosphere or in orbit, and that's where the corporations are. So very much sort of like a Shadowrun-esque feel. And I was reading the book, and something happens. Okay, and what happens is that the girl, Sarah, her name is, does a job, and she comes back from the job, and her younger brother has an interaction, we'll call it. Anyway, and he sort of like gets moved to another room. Okay, and then something happens. But let me get the rest of the ideas down, and then if you're still around, we could talk about what actually happens. So there's a couple of things that I want to do here. I think what I'm going to do is just make like a bullet point list. Just so I can get sort of like ideas down, and that's going to be the most important thing. So the first thing is I want to drag the players in. I want to go back to the first adventure when they made new contacts. And they made new contacts in the first ever adventure. And I certainly thought this would be a wonderful hook to bring them back in. Okay. original crew needs assistance, and that's going to be the hook. And I thought that would be a nice hook in, because that they'll do it. They'll do it because, you know, this crew helped them out right the way back at the beginning. So it's sort of like, okay, let's repay them in some way. So that's the first thing. The next thing that I wanted to happen is that I'm just going to put the ideas down. So cabin in the mountains. So I want a cabin in the mountains somewhere. Trip out there. Provided. And high tech, possibly. And then this could be last known point of contact. I want something operations taking place in the mountainous region. Biotech, possibly. I don't want to get into the robots or poison or something like that. I want something a little bit more mundane. That they go, but my idea is that the party that the crew that originally supported them when they came into the campaign went off on a job, and they haven't been seen or heard from the job. And when the company or the corporation sort of like got back in touch with them, started to dig around, they found the players' contact details. Let's get original crew hired to complete a mission. Not heard back from them. Found the players' contact details about their exploits. So that's good. And then they're going to go to a cabin in the mountain, and that's where they were dropped off. That's when they were last known. And then they went off to some high-tech underground center or something like that. I haven't thought about it. In my head, we've got run down base of operation, possible hazards, rogue security system, omnivorous plants. I'm just putting things down now. Or created the area. I just think in here, uh, possible encounter with Yeti or something like that. I think there's going to be something like that in there. I can't decide whether or not I want the crew. In my gut, what I want to try to organize is that it's all it's a con. So the people who make the initial contact, the original crew is not there at all. They've just done some digging and found out what's happening, and they're sort of like intercepting transmissions and things like that. Not really happening. Intercepting transmissions. Keeping the party occupied. Thinking that they are out to save everyone. Save the original group. Okay, so this is the idea that the party sort of like gets caught up in the hook. So they're thinking, oh, this is what we need. This is what we need to do now. We're going to be doing this. And they fly them out to the cabin, which was the last known place. Okay. I've just thought for the death of Relic Hunter. So if you remember in a past adventure, they actually let me see if I can just find that adventure so I get my notes all clear. So it was in plots, wasn't it? Marsh Banks. This was the plot line of Marsh Banks, if you remember. Oh no, that's not Marsh Banks. That's not the one I want. Mm, 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 mm. That's what would the wasn't the bug hunt? Sons of the Bond of Quarrelite. This was it. So Matthew Brock, if you remember, Matthew Brock was the multi-millionaire. And if you remember, they shot him and killed him. And I think this is a well-known possibility for Matthew Brock's family or company to almost like get possible revenge. Matthew Brock person. Okay. So really and truly, this is all the setup is done really well, and they go out to the cabin, expecting to look for the actual outcome. What do they find there? What can they find there? And when they actually get there, there's very little or nothing there at all, apart from what they've actually brought. And there's this idea like little to no power by the generator, no satellite or Wi-Fi connection, etc. So they're literally out there by themselves. Okay, and this is where the revenge happens. So in the book that I'm reading, Sarah and her brother live in like an apartment, and her brother is so badly injured after a certain encounter that Sarah, the street samurai, puts him in her bed, and she's just finished the job. And it's a typical corporation job, because even though she's done it, the corporation is trying to get rid of loose ends, and they actually send a rocket into her apartment and send it into the bedroom where she should have been killed, but of course her brother's there instead. And I suddenly had this idea of sending a rocket into the cabin that the players are sheltering in. In the sense that I'm literally going to blow it to bits, literally demolish it. And I was trying to think of a way of doing it. And this is where I think characters' luck comes in. And what I'm going to do is just take their luck. Literally take their luck. So they have to use the luck to survive the missile attack. That's it. They've got no chance. I actually take their luck and say, okay, then, because you are heroes and because you are lucky, this is what's going to happen. Okay, so the idea is that this missile is sent from orbit, and there's a film, and I don't know what it is. There's a film where it could be Anna or something like that. They live out in a countryside somewhere, and a drone comes over and then just blows up the whole place. And it's a bit like that I want as well. So there's this warning of an incoming missile moments before the rocket hits. It will blow up the cabin and send party flying. Using the characters' luck up, this will be at the start of the adventure. they will survive, but will sustain various injuries, even with that much luck. They can't escape unharmed. Okay. So that's my idea then. And then I think I made a note of it on my iPad what I was going to do. Let's see. Space. Did I write it down? I don't think I did. That's a pain. What's that adventure? Yeah, that adventure's done. That's gone. Okay. So what I was planning of was possible ideas for wounds. Okay, so even though they've sort of like taken that they've used their luck, that there are certain things that they have to take. So one body area will have a minor wound. 1d3 above 0. Okay, so that's just going to be one area. Another area will be reduced to 0 hit points. So that's like a serious wound. So those serious wounds will have various sort of like impacts. So when somebody gets a serious wound, then permanently scarred, the victim cannot act or start to cast spells or anything for the next 1d3 turns. Failed limb is useful until back to positive hit points. So what I think what we'll say is that they are I don't want it to be serious wounds. I don't want them to be ripped off or anything. Serious wound. So they'll be unconscious for a period of time. limb will be useless. Unconscious, if it's their chest, abdomen, or head, they're going to be unconscious for a number of minutes equal to so they will be unconscious if it is a head, chest, or abdomen. First aid or healing skills can be used to help an unconscious victim regain conscious, but he will not be able to rejoin the combat until he's received further healing to the serious wound location. So what I want to do here, I want to I want to put the party that there's two things that I want to, two sort of like emotions that I want to put across here. The first thing is that I want it that they are really annoyed. Really, really annoyed. And the second thing I want them to be is that they are worried. They are seriously worried in the sense that, you know, one missile has been fired at them. How long before the next one? I was just thinking then, overhead drones sent to check on damage and survivors. How will they hide? Infrared, etc. Equipment. One useful piece of equipment is destroyed completely. Oh no, they can keep one piece that is unharmed, one piece that is hard skill rolls, and one piece that is formidable skill rolls. Rest are destroyed or not usable. So as well as knocking them out, I'm also knocking out a whole load of their skills. And then that technically is when the that's technically when the adventure begins, if you see. So rather than starting the adventure at the end when they're all sort of like damaged, etc., I want to start it from, I want to make the end the beginning. That's what I want. Uh, duh, 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 duh. Approaching cabin will mention the possibility of a nearby old biotech nearby old power center that used to use hydroelectric power before climate change plunged the whole area into snow and ice. Nice. That would be good. They were sent there to retrieve power efficiency formula that was developed by the scientists there before they were. Now, I'm not too sure whether or not this is going to work. We need to do a little bit more work. I mean, there's nothing there. There is something there, but it's not actually important at all at this point. Okay, then. So now I need to think. Okay, then. So how is the party going to escape this? So they're going to make their way to that place. Once they get there, what's actually going to happen? How are they going to get out? The power plant possibility of getting power back on and possibly mending or jury rigging a communication disk to send message to the what do we I forget. This is typical me. When there's such a long gap, I forget about names, etc. New recruits, Project Nemesis. To send message to Project Nemesis. patron will learn of their rival and will be sending a force into the power plant to terminate them. Party and set up a series of ambushes or technical wizardry to survive. Near the end combat, a nemesis ship will survive to get them off planet to lay low in a for while. So we normally play two adventures. So I'm almost like setting up this adventure to work on the next adventure as well. Okay. That is going well at the moment. Let's just see what it looks like. I might have to work on this. Sometimes I do worry or wonder about my imagination and how it actually works. I really do wonder. Okay, so that's quite good. That's sort of like set up for how I want it, and then what I'll do now is that I'll just sit on that and let my brain mull over it. But we've got a good sort of like an idea about it. The one that I want to do next is the What Lies Beyond, which is the after the Vampire Wars, but nothing's come to me in my brain at the moment for that. So I'm struggling somewhat. Right. So we're back. We're back to Attack of the Hordes. So this is where we're up to with the Mithras adventure, which is going well. We didn't play this week, which means I've got a little bit more to sort of like work on. And what I've decided, smaller imp style of creatures. Okay. And then what we need to do, I've been trying to think of, and this is typical inwils. I never think of everything that's going to happen. I sort of like think of them in like little stages. So let's call up Rise of the Spirits. This is 6 down the well. This is what I want it to hang on. This is like that, and then we're going to go to full. Let's just get the navigation out. Return of the Spirits. This is 6, so this is going to be 400. And then here, I'm trying to find, there it is. That's what we want. Okay, so now I'm into another difficult part of the adventure. Because again, I don't know where I'm going. So they've just had that massive battle out with hundreds of mobs coming into them, and they've been challenging, killing them left, right, and center. And there's more just coming out. And they know that the blight, etc., comes from deep within the well. So they need to venture down into the darkness. I wonder how big a normal well is. How deep is a normal well? A typical well. There we go. A typical depth of residential well ranges from 100 feet to 800 feet. 100 feet in meters. 30 meters. Depth of the well equals 30 meters. Now, the other thing that's really important here is damages, because how are they going to, what is the falling damage? Let me just remind myself of falling. There it is. So the falling damage. Okay, so it says, I'll just pop it on so you can see it as well. The amount of damage suffered depends on the armor points. Do not reduce damage point. Okay then. 1d6 a point to a random location, 3 random, 4 location. Damage is rolled separately for each location. It is not spread among them. Creature of smaller size. Right. That's fine. That's fine. Acrobatics can be used to mitigate falling damage. A successful roll allows the character to treat the fall as if it were 2 meters shorter. In addition, as long as the roll is successful, the character does not suffer a serious or major wound. Okay then. So that's, but there going to be a lot of damage. So 1 meter or less, no damage. 2 to 5 equals 1d6 to 1 random location. 6 to 10 meters. 2d6 to 2 random locations. I hope that they don't fall down the well, but you never know. Meters equals 3d6 to 3 random locations. 16 to 20 equals 4d6 to 4 random locations, and then each plus 5% equals plus 1d6 damage. Okay, so that's a falling damage. So we hope that they don't fall, but we've got it there if we need it. If we need it, we've got it. Okay, so now we need to think, okay, so how are they going to get down? Only present for the first 2 to 3 meters, then complete darkness. Sometimes I think players can I think players can react in 2 possible ways. And one of the ways they can do when they become to like a really difficult situation, they can either give up or really perform well. I always think it's that there's various ways that they can sort of like go out there, if that makes sense, you know. And I think it's always interesting in these situations what the party tries to do, you know, whether or not they go out on a limb to try to actually be successful, or whether or not they just sort of like think, oh, let's go back to town. And if they said, let's go back to town, then I would say, yeah, that's fine, go. You know, because it's just, I mean, there won't be an adventure or whatever, but I'm not going to make them go down the well and save the world. That's the idea. You know, it's going to be completely up to them. Okay, then why don't we say that there's also hidden entrances to tunnels beneath the farmstead that lead down to the cave complex. These have been created by the minions as the shaman released the spirits. As the party, while waiting, a fog spirit will come up the well, drift off to the surrounding area, so that the party are aware that this is the way down. Okay. These hidden areas can be found with a suitable perception roll. Yeah, let's put that roll if they are looking for them. Okay, that's cool. That's good. This is not red wine, by the way. It's blackcurrant juice. Right. Okay, then. So what are we going to have down these tunnels? I know the end point is going to be face to face with a shaman. I know that. That's where I'm going from. But these are like tunnels that they're going through. Oh, some tunnels are only big enough to crawl through. Oh, that'd be fantastic. I'd love to see their faces when they have to crawl through a tunnel. Make ladders have been attached to drops to allow for easy passage. I'm trying to picture in my head what it's going to be. There was a wonderful Advanced Dungeons and Dragons book called Dungeoneer Survival Guide that I really loved. It had some really nice maps in it. Things like this that were just sort of like random generators. So you could just sort of like randomly generate something without without them becoming too difficult. And things like that. That's the sort of like the feel that I want. That's the feel that I want. That there's sort of like some open caves, some living caves, etc., etc. I might use that as a bit of a map. See, do not provide a map for this section. You want to try and keep players confused. So I'm not actually going to make them a map. They can scribble maps if they want, but I'm going to be on this scene. That's the scene that I'm going to be on. So there's not going to be any any sort of like maps at all. Okay, then. So major change in the landscape. How will this be returned to normal? Possible second venture, seeking out something or someone. Possibly engaging with spirits, shaman who is friendly or powerful for nature, farmland, spirits, something like that, maybe. There is movement in the tunnels to demonstrate this. There will be a sequence of rolls that will determine whether party has to have combat or they stay hidden in a small a small tunnel, etc. Okay, so random table possibilities. How high the tunnel is. 2. The state of the tunnel. 3. I'm wondering whether or not I can randomly create the tunnels so they just appear in a certain way. That's what I was just thinking about. Passageways off the main tunnel. Wonder if we can actually get 6. Around the party, and there is the possibility. Proposed role will determine whether there is a counter or not. So rather than mapping everything out, I want to almost like do it on a random table. So there's a lot of difference, and linked to that, I want this idea that there will be an opposed role of some description that will determine whether or not they've managed to dive into a cover or something like that. dive into cover. Oh, move into joining space. Oh, possibly silently dispatch wandering mobs. This is going to need a lot more thought, but I'll be able to get there once I've sort of like put the seed in my head. Then I can start sort of like working on it. So I want lots of randomness going down as they move through the tunnels, getting to the major. Okay, so possible ideas for caves. Fungus and mushrooms. Accommodation. They're not going to have accommodation, aren't they? They're like ghouls. Water filled or water logged. Waterfall. Cave in. Sinkhole or sudden drop. Grotto. Oh, we got so many ideas for all this part. It's slowly coming together. What are players trying to do? Find the source of the light. Spirits. Find and destroy shaman. Okay, so that's what they're trying to do. They're going to get chased at the end after. So when they kill or destroy the shaman, it's not going to end there. It might be that the shaman gets out. You know, well, I don't know yet. It really does depend, but they've got to get out of the cave complex just as they got in. And that's going to be like a battle on the way out as well. I've just had a wonderful idea. Tunnels are relatively empty. The shaman and minions have been out as the party venture through the tunnels. Shaman and minions will return. That's it. I like that idea in the sense that they're working through and they're thinking, good grief, there's nothing here. And that's because the shaman and the minions are out. And then they suddenly return and start. So the party are now trapped. So they're actually trapped in the cave complex. I like that. Okay, large cave grotto. Aiming it. Summoning circle. Broken. Open. Not a coffin. Broken open. Container. I was just thinking at this point, I need to go back and remind myself. Spirit God takes part of its shaman, draws life force, eventually kills them, but always another willing victim to desire power. Sealed away from ancient times, mass tomb banished them from the world. Okay. And then there was the description that I gave. Break the slumber and protect this place from what is familiar to you. Right. So this is good. This is good. I think I'm to that stage now that I need like a long walk and start to think about things. I think I've got an idea where I want to go. The other thing that I need to work on as well is the after the vampire wall. Well, I've got lots of ideas for that, but it's still really, really difficult. So I've got that to do as well. But even though we didn't play this week, I've still got loads to do as the GM. So I think things are going all right. I think I'm getting there. We've got a lot of stuff already in place. So that should work out well. Thank you for watching this video if you have done so. And yeah, I'll see you next Sunday for some more GM prep. Do keep an eye out on my socials, on TikTok and on YouTube, and see what content I create. And yeah, I hope to see you next week. And don't forget, next Saturday afternoon, you'll be able to see, Saturday evening, you'll be able to see the party continue their adventure live. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll catch you all later. See you all. Bye.